Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. 各位投资者，上午好. On behalf of the organizers, the Thailand Board of Investment, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to the webinar, Think Resilience, Think Thailand. May I just shortly introduce myself? My name is Lisa Vaskaran. I'm an investment promotion officer from the Thailand Board of Investment, and I will be your host for today. Before we get started, I would like to take just a couple of minutes to explain some guidelines for attending this webinar. Please note that this webinar will be conducted in English. However, we have provided a simultaneous interpreter for our Chinese-speaking audience. There is a language option on the bar below. Choose the off button to listen to English and the Chinese button to listen to Chinese. In case you're using your mobile phone or tablet, you can find the translation function under More. The microphone and video will be muted at all times. If you wish to ask questions, please use the Q&A function on the option bar below. You may submit your questions at any time during this webinar, but the questions will only be answered during the Q&A sessions. We may not be able to address all questions asked. However, the unanswered questions will be answered individually via email, and also the chat function will be disabled. I would like to also inform you about the agenda for today's event. We'll start off our webinar by the presentation from the Secretary General of the Thailand Board of Investment, or the BOI, about investment supports and opportunities. And after the presentation, Mr. Chai Yawu will share his first-hand experience about how his company has expanded from China to Thailand. And after that, we'll have a panel discussion on Thailand's readiness to support manufacturing expansion, and we will open the floor for questions from the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, today's event provides a unique opportunity for all of us to get a clear view of what Thailand can offer as an investment destination and what it's like to expand your businesses from China over here to Thailand. Without any further ado, it is a great honor to have Ms. Dongchai Asawa Chintachit, the Secretary General of the Thailand Board of Investment, with us today. Her presentation will focus on investment supports and opportunities from the BOI. Madam Secretary General, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning. 大家好. Good morning, everyone. I have about 25 minutes to tell you what Thailand is up to. So I would like to divide my presentation into 4 parts. To tell you a bit about the Thai economy and so on. So let me start with giving you information on Thailand's general economic situation and investment status. Well, Thailand is quite a sizable domestic market. I think most Chinese are quite familiar with Thailand, particularly Chinese tourists form the most important group of foreign tourists to Thailand. The Thai market consists of about 67 million consumers, and we are the second highest household consumption in ASEAN. And also Thailand has been a major exporter for many products, and exports account for about 70% of our GDP. So you can imagine how important exports are to our economy. Thailand is among the top 3 export bases in ASEAN. Our major export items include things like automotive products, computers and parts. Particularly, we are a major hub for the production of hard disk drives, and we are actively promoting Thailand as a hub for smart electronics. Our major trading partners, of course, include China, US, Japan, and some of our ASEAN friends. Thailand is definitely situated in the most one of the most strategic locations in the world, if not in this region. We are right between the two major, the two very, very important economies, that is China and India. And we know that our strategic location is one of the most important advantages of Thailand. So the Thai government is actively investing in infrastructure facilities to make sure that we can capitalize on our advantage as a strategic location. So during 2015 to 2022, we expect to see around 378 billion renminbi of investment in infrastructure facilities. A large proportion of this investment would go to the rail system, which is the most needed, and it is the most cost-efficient mode of transportation. We are heavily expanding our rail system and also our mass transit system. For those of you who have been to Bangkok before, you probably have noticed a lot of construction going on of mass transit system. Related to the strategic location issue, Thailand has entered into 13 free trade agreements. So this will enhance our position as a trading nation or as a trading hub for Chinese companies and companies from around the world. So those of you who have set up facilities, manufacturing facilities, or plan to set up manufacturing facilities in Thailand can certainly make use of those 13 free trade agreements. In particular, we have, of course, we're part of Southeast Asia, we're part of ASEAN. So, and ASEAN has entered into many free trade agreements with our trading partners as well. Ease of doing business, of course, it is one of the most important issues for investors or for potential investors who are considering putting their money somewhere. Of course, you need to make sure that it is easy to do business. Thailand is ranked 21 in the doing business ranking by the World Bank. Globally, we are ranked number 21. And in ASEAN alone, we are the second after Singapore in terms of global logistics ranking. So this is in line with the issue that I mentioned earlier on our connectivity. And with all these advantages, of course, Thailand has been the second home to many, many multinational corporations around the world. As you can see from this list, we just picked just some examples. There are a lot more multinational corporations that have set up their production hubs and their service hub in Thailand. As you can see that there is a great diversity of companies. The companies are spread across many sectors, not only in manufacturing, but also in services. Success stories of Chinese companies in Thailand. Of course, we have important companies such as MyDear, whose representative is here with us today, and you would hear more stories about doing business in Thailand from a representative from MyDear, Mr. Chai. And also we have quite a number of companies in, like, let's say, rubber tire manufacturers. We have actually more than almost all the top 5 tire manufacturers from China have manufacturing operations in Thailand. And in recent years, we have seen more and more service companies coming to Thailand, particularly in the digital sector. Investment from China. China became one of the most important investing sources of foreign direct investment in Thailand over the past several years. Actually, based on the BOI statistics, last year China became the largest source of foreign investment for the very first time. Traditionally, over the past many decades, Japan has been the most important source of foreign investment. China took over last year, but this year we have seen during the first 6 months of this year, Japan became the largest foreign direct investment again. But this is only captured by the BOI project submitted by the BOI. We do not capture other projects that might not fall under the scope of the BOI. Second issue that I'd like to mention is the BY incentives. Of course, we are helping companies on many aspects. We do provide tax incentives to help reduce the cost of investments at least at the beginning. So we provide corporate income tax exemption ranging from 0 years to 8 years. And also in some cases, we might also provide 50% of corporate income tax reduction after the expiry of the tax exemption period. And we also provide exemption of import duties on machinery. And if you are an exporter, we do provide exemption of import duties on raw materials. So these are the major tax incentives that we're providing today. We also facilitate companies, particularly foreign companies, by providing them with non-tax incentives such as the right to own 100% of the shares. So if you would like to own 100% of the shares, you can. We only have very, very few restrictions. All of the manufacturing projects, we would allow 100% foreign ownership. And even for services, we do allow 100% foreign ownership as well. There are only a very, very few sectors where we have restrictions. We also provide land ownership for foreign companies, and also we facilitate companies when you need to bring in expats. We facilitate them in terms of visas and work permits. We run our own one-stop shop for visas and work permits to make sure that you can enter Thailand smoothly. And we even we run an online system, and we guarantee that companies would get their papers renewed within 3 hours after having submitted the complete documentation. The BY incentive scheme, how does it work? We design our incentive schemes based on basically based on your activities. Our rule of thumb is that we look at the level of technologies, we look at the role in the supply chain in Thailand, such as the use of raw materials or the linkages to other segments in the economy and so on. But apart from the activity-based incentives, we also have additional incentives as options for investors, such as if you conduct research and development activities, you can also get additional tax incentives. You support academic or research institutions, or you conduct human resource development and so on. You can also get additional tax incentives and so on. So we provide the so-called merit-based incentives. We have certain things that we would like our investors to undertake. If they do, they could gain additional tax incentives. Particularly now, we focus very much on human resource development because this is a very critical issue for Thailand. Particularly now we would like the private sector to take part in human resource development, because we believe that the private sector or the employer is the best trainer for our people. Also, we have identified certain areas as our targets. So we could provide additional tax incentives if you happen to be located in specific locations that we identify, such as the EEC, which has the representative to join our panel discussion today. The Eastern Seaboard of Thailand has been the most important industrial area in the country for many years. I think starting from the 80s, where we found natural gas in the Gulf of Thailand. And also, we have been promoting the border special economic zones. We would like to promote the connectivity with our neighboring countries. Thailand shares very long borderlines with our neighboring countries. And also, in the Deep South, we would like to promote economic activities. So we provide very, very attractive tax incentives if you're located in the southern border provinces and so on. Industrial estates, we also would like to encourage people to go into there. So we provide additional tax incentives as well. And so these are the special areas that we have identified. And if you go there, you could get additional tax incentives. Apart from that, we also have some special tax incentives from time to time, our temporary scheme. So This summarizes the standard activity-based incentive package. I would not go into details. You can find out more information from our publication or talk to our officers. But in general, we do provide quite very attractive tax incentives. And for the Eastern Economic Corridor, we certainly see the EEC as our very important location. So we do provide additional tax incentives if you invest in this area as well. But we of course impose certain conditions, such as you need to be in industrial estates or industrial zones, and if you undertake human resource development by taking on trainees or apprentices, you could also get additional tax incentives. This slide summarizes the tax incentive scheme under the EEC package. As you can see that we accord great importance to human resource development, and this became a major component of the BOI incentive scheme. For example, if you undertake apprentices, you could get a 50% reduction of corporate income tax for 3 years. So very attractive tax incentives if you decide to take on apprentices. If you are located in industrial estate, you get 1 more year of tax holidays. If you're in the special zones in the EEC, such as ECI, ECD, and so on, you could get also additional tax incentives. I would not go into details of these areas because our representatives from the respective agencies would be talking about it later on during the program. I'd like to, before I end my presentation on investment incentives, I'd like to point out our ongoing investment stimulation measure. This is a special package that we are running at the moment. If you submit an application by the end of this year and you bring in at least 1 billion baht of investment by the end of next year, what you will get is you get 5 more years of 50% reduction of corporate income tax. So simple as that. We running this program since the beginning of this year, and we hope that through this program we could bring much more investment in Thailand. And if you're looking for a location somewhere in ASEAN, I think Thailand can be your best location, and on top of that you can enjoy the extra benefits from this program. Sectors of opportunities. I think if I have the whole day, I can continue talking about this, but I like to point out only a few sectors of opportunities that would be very important information for our potential investors. Smart electronics is one of the targeted activities at the moment, particularly now with the trade conflict between China and the US. I think a lot of companies are looking for new locations, and ASEAN is often looked as a potential location. And I like to invite companies to take a look at Thailand seriously. We already have very good base for smart electronics because we are a major producer of electronic products such as hard disk drives. So, and in recently we have seen more and more companies are moving their facilities from China to Thailand, particularly in smart electronics. Another sector that I'd like to mention is digital industries. Digitalization is one of the policy targets for the Thai government. So we would like to invite companies with technologies to take part in this process. And Chinese companies have excellent technologies, excellent digital technology. So we very much would like to invite you to take a look at the opportunities in the digital sector in Thailand. Another key sector would be medical industry. Of course, Thailand is the medical hub of ASEAN. Each year we receive about 3.5 million foreign patients being treated in Thailand. I'm talking about not only medical service, but also pharmaceuticals and medical devices. And we would like to invite Chinese companies to take a look at this sector as well. We have a sizable domestic market because of the foreign tourists, foreign medical tourists, and also with the domestic market size. But also take a look at Thailand's potential as an export hub, production hub for medical devices and pharmaceutical products. And these are some examples of medical device companies that have their manufacturing facilities in Thailand. As you can see that companies from around the world have decided to set up in Thailand. And the food industry also very important. We are now focusing on the so-called BCG, the bioeconomy, circular economy, and green economy. And the food industry has always been a major sector for Thailand, since we are one of the very few net food exporters in the world. Since I have only about 3 minutes left, I'd like to end my presentation with the BY service. We run our one-stop shop called OSOS, providing all types of services ranging from consultation. You can come and talk to us at our one-stop shop, either in person or online. We now provide Zoom meeting consultation. And we also have the one-stop center for visas and work permits, as I mentioned earlier. And we are now running the so-called Smart Visa program to attract foreign talents and foreign technologies and tech investments. So further information would be provided. If you would like to seek further information, my team would be more than happy to provide you with further details. And last but not least, this is the measures for entering into Thailand for foreign experts at the moment. With the COVID-19 pandemic, we are still facilitating expats who would like to enter Thailand to work and to perhaps take a look at the opportunities in Thailand. These are the procedures at the moment, and the BOI is taking part in these procedures. That means companies that have been granted BOI promotion, that means that they have been granted approval from us for their projects, their investment projects in Thailand, or those who are planning to submit an application, an investment application to the BOI, we are authorized to grant an approval for them to enter into Thailand. But at the moment, all foreigners traveling to Thailand are still subject to the 14-day quarantine. But we are there to help facilitate your procedures in entering or getting approval to enter into Thailand. So, this is my last slide. Our offices in China, we have 3 offices. So in Guangzhou, Shanghai, and Beijing. So please do contact our team there if in your location, and we very much look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much. 谢谢你.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary General, for your presentation. I'll get back to you later with some questions from the audience. Thank you. Coming up next, Mr. Chai Yawu, the president of Midea Refrigeration Equipment Thailand, will share his valuable experiences on the expansion of his company. Mr. Chai, you're now live. The floor is yours, sir.
好的，我共享一下我要分享的内容。好的，尊敬的端斋秘书长，拉萨蒙副秘书长， 贞杰莎娜副院长、纳鹏主任、阿姆副院长，还有在线上的企业界的朋友，大家上午好。我是美的泰国智能设备有限公司的蔡耀武，今天很荣幸得到 BOI 的邀请，在这里跟大家分享我们在泰国的这个投资项目的一些经验，希望会对大家未来在泰国的投资起到一定的帮助作用。那么我今天要分享的内容分为4部分，首先会是美的集团的一些介绍，还有美的我们所在的这个空调事业部的介绍，还有美的泰国的这个投资的一个情况，最后是会分享一下为什么我们选择在泰国进行投资。那首先是美的集团的情况，这是美的集团的愿景、使命和价值观。我们是畅想崭新美好的愿景，迎接一个繁茂的时代。那我们的愿景是联动人与万物，启迪美的世界，是希望这个物联网技术能够在未来能够为整个世界创造更美好的一个场景。我们的使命是科技尽善，生活尽美，是希望美的使用我们的这些科技的技术，能够为大家创造更美好的生活。那我们的价值观是感知未来，是志存高远，务实奋进，包容共协，变革创新。美的集团的创始在1968年，由我们的创始人侯产健先生创立，到今天是52周年。那么现在已经成功的转变成一个多品类的全球经营的一个企业集团。那么在2019年，我们营收是395亿美元，人民币是2794亿。今年上半年虽然疫情影响，但我们也取得了205亿美元的一个营收，整体的这个营收跟去年同期比基本是持平，所以这过程中我们还是保持了比较好的这个经营的韧性。那么整体来讲，美的集团现在在全球都取得了不错的一个经营的业绩。那我们连续4年入选财富世界500强的榜单，2020年我们是排在307位，在福布斯的排名我们排在229位，还有其他的这个排名。所以整体来讲，美的集团在整体经营上取得的成绩还是比较好的。那美的集团实际上来讲，我们本身是有4大板块，就是一个是消费电器，第2个是暖通空调，第3个是机器人与自动化设备，这里包括我们收购的库卡，还有瑞士格和高创，这些都是自动化和信息化的一些技术的公司，还有就是数字化的一些我们自己数字化的一些业务内容。我们实际上来讲，现在经营的4大板块还有将近20多个这个品牌在经营，包括我们自己的美的、小天鹅、东芝、华林，还有 Como 等等，还有库卡。整个营收方面的话，美的集团的话，主要的营收在消费电子里面的话，我们大概占到43%，暖通空调46%，然后机器人跟自动化部分的话，我们大概占到将近10%左右，这部分是美的未来重点要培植的一个新的产业。美的集团也在内部正全面的推行2个全面的数字化跟全面的智能化。营收方面，国内外的话基本上是接近一半一半，所以我们整个是一个内外都是比较均衡发展的一个企业集团。那么美的集团的主要战略有3个主轴，一个是效率驱动，一个是产品领先，还有一个全球经营。那么核心的全球经营是我们目前在集团内全面要去展开的一个战略主轴。 所以这个也正因为这个要全面加快全球的这个发展，所以才有了今天我们这个泰国的这个公司的投资，这可能跟很多中国的企业有类似的情况。那么首先还是讲效率驱动，效率驱动美的拥有自己的 TGS3 的一个运营系统，这个运营系统是从单点的改善向研发、营销、制造、物流，是全价值链的一个拉通的变革模式。这个过程中，在全球推行过程中，我们取得了非常好的一个效益。这个也是以用户为中心的一个产品和效率的改善的一个结果。在产品领先方面的话，集团是一直在加大整体的一个研发投入。我们连续5年的累计投入的在研发里面已经超过400亿人民币，而且这里面的话，我们有15万件的这个专利申请，专利的维持量大概5.7万件，这个是在连续4年在家电行业里面是第一的。在全球经营上的话，我们构建的是2+4+N 的一个全球研发的一个网络，同时建造一个全球的这个研发规模的一个发挥全球规模优势。在研发部分，全球的布局我们有28个研发中心，其中10个在国内，18个是在国外，分布在11个国家。那未来我们泰国这个项目里面也会设立研发的分支机构。在制造部分的话，全球我们有34个制造基地，这34个制造基地里面有17个在国内，有17个在海外，这分布在13个国家。泰国目前就已经有2个，我们还在泰国继续加大整体的一个投资。后面会讲到我们为什么选择泰国。那下面还是讲我们所在的这个事业部的一些情况。家用空调事业部是美的集团里面是最大的一个事业部，我们是国内是拥有最先进的生产线，年产能的话我们可以有6700万套，是最完整的一个空调产业链，包括从控制系统到电机到压缩机整体我们都能够做到，而且这个出口里面我们做到连续16年排名第一。19年我们的总量是做到了销售量做到了4800万套，今年的情况的话应该不会比这个差，我们会比这个会更好。从上半年的经营情况来看，所以疫情虽然受了影响，但我们整体经营状况还是不错的。那么美的这几年一直在推动整个精益管理的这个深化。在内部的话，这个空调的这个 SKU 是在数量在减少50%，同时在大面积的使用机器人因为我们也是收购了库卡，还有其他的这个相关的一个自动化的一个产业。那么 T+3 的模式，我们实际上呢就一直在进行整个全界的链的一个运营效率的提升，包括这个库存的面积的减少，还有这个供货周期的这个压缩，这整个来讲，全面的投入里面，我们现在市场的份额，在线上也已经加大线上的投入之后，线上我们现在的市场份额已经逐渐的超过了我们线下的市场份额，虽然我们在向互联网的这个经营方向在转移。那么研发系统的话，这个我们目前的话有3大研发系统，就是包括创新中心、海外研究中心和国内研究中心。每年有3%的投入在研发里面，现在有超过800名的研发专业人员在家用空调，博士跟硕士占比是38%。专利方面的话，我们2019年申请了19000件，获得了超过1万件的一个专利，同时我们获得36个设计的大奖。在于技术上面的话，我们实际上是中国最大的2个变频空调生产厂家之一，也是中国第一家掌握全新空调变频技术和拥有自主产权压缩机的芯片模块生产的一个公司。在智能控制方面，我们的 M-Smart 技术的话是可以通过语音各种输入来去控制整体的家电，所以这个也是我们整体信息管控的一部分的内容 其中一部分。那未来我们在泰国生产的空调也都带有这个技术。整个家用空调生产基地总共在国内有6个，海外有5个。那未来如果泰国投产之后的情况是，我们将是全球海外最大的生产基地。那下面介绍一下泰国这个公司的一个基本情况。这个公司我们选址在春武里府，是去年开始进入现在占地面积大概130赖，注册资本现在是按照10亿泰铢进行注资。我们今年虽然受疫情影响，但是我们整个投资非常的坚决，所以也克服了一些困难。在4月份的时候，我们做了奠基，预计投产的话会在21年的10月份。生产的空调基本上市面上有的我们都会有，分体、移动、窗机、除湿，年产能会去到400万每年。这些空调都会带有嵌入式控制功能，或者物联网功能，或者是节能功能，这些先进的技术的空调。我们会在这里设立研发的分支机构，并且建整套的一个配套实验室，同时会按照我们在中国的这个美的的要求，按照智能制造工厂的方式去投资，会导入整体国内最优的这种智能制造技术的一个实践，会以这个精益柔性为基础，通过精益化、数字化和这个自动化的整合来打造整体品质稳定和交货灵活、成本最优的智能化这个工厂。同时我们会把美的自有的这个智能信息管理系统也会一并带入进来，因为美的自己也在全面的去开发这种内部的这管控数字化系统。就在昨天，我们在国内的广州工厂也获得了这个世界经济论坛的灯塔工厂的一个称号。我们会参照灯塔工厂的一些要求，把最佳的实践结合泰国的实际情况进行导入。还有一些自动化技术都为了提高整体的一个效率和降低这个品质的风险。还有智能的这个节能系统，我们也会把工厂建成这个节能和环保的一个工厂，以我们国内要求的这个节能环保的标准来进行建设。那为什么选择泰国？刚刚秘书长也讲了非常多的这个包括政策各方面的一个情况。那其中一个核心就是泰国整体的相比东南亚其他国家，整个政治局势是相对稳定的。目前看到也有很多的投资都是着重于经济发展跟民生改善，包括基础设施的投资，还在不断的在加大。同时的话，中国跟泰国自贸区也在不断的在深化合作。在这个“一带一路”的这个倡导下的话，中泰其实现在的经济合作是越来越紧密。同时的话，今年的疫情观察全球的各国对中国的这个表现看的话，泰国其实对中国是相比其他的国家，我认为是更加友好。我认为这也是我们投资泰国这个决策的其中一个考量。另外就是从空调我们自己行业来看的话，泰国的整体空调的厂家在很多年已经在建厂，所以它整体的制工业基础和产业配套基础是相对比东南亚其他国家更好。整体看的话，泰国它70%是出口，而且有很大的这个产品在出口，所以它的整体工业基础相对而言是比东南亚其他国家更有优势。这个大家可以去做深入的调研。另外，泰国还有一个比较大的优势是它有非常完善的整个工业园的系统包括 IEAT 下属大概有超过50个大的工业园，还有其他的包括品通WSA、诺加纳、阿玛达，这些都是非常专业的这个工业园管理公司，它可以提供整套非常完整和省心的这个落地的一个政策，落地的一个工业园的管理，就是这个可以不需要企业进来之后会需要各方面的去再去解决工业园投资建厂一些琐碎的事情和当地的一些 处理。另外还有像非常专业的，像这个泰国的新思是非常专业的这个物流和仓储这些公司，他们也有很多可以租赁的厂房，我觉得也可以作为一个进入的选择。在政策方面，刚刚秘书长讲的非常多，我就不重申了，就是各种政策都有，各种的投资的政策包大家可以跟 BOI 去沟通和了解。那这里面 BOI 其实是一个非常好的机构，我认为 BOI 整体的效率是非常高的，而且 BOI 提供的很多的材料也非常的专业和规范，指导性非常强。然后我们这个过程，我们自己项目实施过程中也反复跟 BOI 曼谷、BOI 广州做了非常多的沟通，他们非常热心跟耐心的解答，我觉得这个是非常好的一个投资的一个促进的一个部门。在广州的话，我们其实我们是在广东的企业，所以我们找到广州这边，广州这边的话，办事处在过程中给了非常多的这个支持，所以 BOI 其实在这个投资过程中提供的很多的服务，还有政策的这个内容都是非常的简单和高效的。这里包括了一站式的一些相关的工作证各方面的服务。这里的话也要感谢这个广州办事处的这个阿 P 彭主任还有陈文佳的这个支持。那其实 BOI 现在除了投资之外，在落地阶段的话，它还提供了非常多的这个相关操作的培训的。我们现在也正在不断的学习各种政策落地的一些培训，包括进出口的一些优惠政策的实地。这里的话会很高兴有机会跟大家分享。那么最后就是还是要借这个机会也感谢一下这个BOI 包括端在秘书长，还有这个广州办事处的阿 P 彭主任陈文佳女士，还有投资2处的马哈努先生，还有这个潘拉帕的女士。IAT 里面其实我们在整个投资过程也给了非常大的支持，包括曼谷的皮蔡先生，还有品通 IAT 的皮拉跑文主任，因为他们其实在整个投资过程中是会给非常多的这个指引非常多的帮助，我们可以在投资过程中大胆的去找他们，他们会非常耐心的给我们解答。我的分享到这里，谢谢大家。
Thank you very much, Mr. Chai, for thank you very much, Mr. Chai, for sharing your valuable experience with us. If you have any questions for him, please place them in the Q&A box. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the next session for today is the panel discussion. We are very honored to have a wide range of experts with in-depth knowledge to share on Thailand's readiness to support manufacturing expansion. May I introduce the moderator of the panel discussion, Dr. Tangniran, Associate Dean of Faculty of Laws, Chulalongkorn University, and the Director of Chinese Studies Center. He is also an expert on China and has written numerous books and articles on international economic analysis. Dr. the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Lisa, for your kind introduction. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this distinguished panel on Thailand's readiness to support manufacturing expansion. During the past 2 years, US-China trade war is a wake-up call for companies to rethink their supply chain management. The spread of COVID-19 this year have also contributed to this ongoing trend of supply chain diversification. Thailand has long been a regional hub for manufacturing, and we look forward to attracting multinationals looking for a new home. We have a distinguished panel here with us today that will help us explore Thailand's readiness to serve as a hub for investment and business expansion. Please allow me to introduce our 3 speakers. We have here with us Dr. Lassamon Attapit, who is currently Deputy Secretary General of Eastern Economic Corridor Office of Thailand, who will give us a brief overview of the many investment opportunities in Thailand's Eastern Economic Corridor. We also have here with us Dr. Jengrit Kanatharana, Vice President, National Science and Technology Development Agency, who will provide us first-hand information on Thailand's innovation hub that will help support your manufacturing expansion. And last but not least, we have Mr. Napong Ariyawat from the Industrial Estate Authority of Thailand. Mr. Napong will provide us with in-depth information on industrial estate zones in the Eastern Economic Corridor. So without further ado, I would like to ask Dr. Lassamon to kick off our discussion by providing an introduction to the Eastern Economic Corridor. What infrastructure and investment in ecosystem can investors expect from the EEC? The floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Am, and good morning to all. It is my pleasure to be here with you all today through this webinar. Secretary General of the BOI has touched upon EEC a little bit, and also media is in EEC. So now I would like to introduce you to understand a bit more about what EEC has to offer. EEC is the Eastern Economic Corridor, which covers 3 provinces in the eastern part of Thailand. The eastern part of Thailand has long been an industrial area. Over 35 years ago, the Eastern Seaboard development happened. And because of that, the area is rather ready to host investment. This time round, the government of Thailand is going to upgrade the area to focus more on certain industries. What we are doing in the EEC area, first of all, is we are upgrading and developing infrastructure to make the area very attractive and ready for industry. First of all, as you can see from the picture here, we already have 2 seaports in the EEC area, with Lam Chabang seaport as a main export seaport of Thailand, and Maptaput as a heavy industry petrochemical seaport for Thailand. At the moment, we are working to expand both seaports into phase 3 to increase capacity. We are also developing a new international airport in the EEC area, the Utapao International Airport. And we are connecting Bangkok with the EEC area through high-speed rail. With this high-speed rail, you can travel from Bangkok into the EEC area and to Utapao International Airport within less than an hour. This is the overall picture of EEC development. EEC and Thailand, well, you know Thailand is in a very strategic location. I would like to say that we are at the center of ASEAN, if you look at the map. And we have great connection to China, to South Asia, and to the world. And EEC, we say we are the prime gateway to Asia. EEC and Thailand, we are also part of the BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, which representative from media talked about. I would say that location-wise, Thailand and EEC is very strategic, especially for export industries. Now, we look at the timeline of the infrastructure projects. I mentioned earlier, EEC has long been industrial area for Thailand. This time, we are going to upgrade infrastructure. It means that already you can move into EEC area like my dear did with all the facilities available. But into the future, we will even have more capacities to host industries. The high-speed rail, the Maptaput Seaport, and the Utapao International Airport projects already signed contract. So construction is happening, and soon, in a few years' time, it will be completed. Lam Chabang Seaport will sign contract soon. All of this, we are going to focus on 12 targeted industries, as you can see from the logos here. These, I'm sure, are industries that Chinese investors are focusing on as well, and China has certain advantages in many of these industries. During the COVID time, we rethink about our strategy and our industries. We found that all the 12 industries still relevant, but we see emerging themes. We can see that the world is now focusing a lot on health, and Thailand has been doing very well on health, medical related issues. We can see that digital adoption is accelerated, and EEC has a best logistic advantage. So we group our 12 targeted industries into 3 themes. First, let's look at the digital. Why I think digital we have good advantage. Thailand has already completed 5G auction, the first in ASEAN. And the contract says that within the first year, EEC area will have to be covered with 5G, 50%. So it means that by March next year, 50% of our industrial promoted zones in EEC will be covered with 5G. And 5G is important because it's the basis for many technologies that Chinese investors are good at, are looking for. So we have this advantage for investment in the EEC area. The second theme is health and well-being. We have a lot of facilities being developed in the EEC and lots of interesting projects like the Genomics Thailand, the EECI, which Dr. Jengrit will talk about. These are basic infrastructures and basic advantage for health and well-being industries to be with us in the EEC area. And last is the logistic theme. With airport being developed, with seaports being expanded, and with the multimodal connectivity of EEC, we believe that logistics related industry has advantage to be in the EEC area, and we can serve export market very well. I skip EECI because Dr. Jengrit will talk about. And industrial estates, my dear touched upon readiness of industrial estates. We have announced promoted areas, 21 industrial estates to be promoted zones for EEC. And these are ready for investors to come in. I don't have to talk about the investment incentives because Secretary General already touched upon. I would like to mention that the EEC has one further advantage is that within the EEC law, we are regulatory sandbox. We are ready to work with investors to help solve their problems, pain points, change some rules and regulation to fit new model of businesses. And to complement BOI OSOS, we also have EEC OSS, which will work very closely with BOI and other agencies in Thailand to facilitate investors. And last but not least, we also have human resource development to make sure that we have skilled workers for investors. Dr. Jengrit will touch upon human resource development furthermore. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm here to answer any question you may have later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lasmon. And we learned from Dr. Lasmon's presentation the 3 emerging industry clusters for potential investors in the EEC, digital and emerging technology, intelligent logistics, and health and well-being. Next, we will hear from Dr. Jengrit, who will tell us about the EECI, the Eastern Economic Corridor for Innovation. So Dr. Jengrit, what is EECI and how can it serve as an innovation hub for investors? Floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Arm. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, to answer Dr. Arm in a very short sentence, I would say that EECI is an innovation hub supporting high-tech industries in the EEC areas. EECI is by design a place for scaling up of research results from public and private laboratories across Thailand into actual use in the industries. So no matter where you do your research in the countries, in your own laboratories, in the Thailand Science Park, in the regional science park, or in the food innopolis, or anywhere else, even outside of Thailand, you can bring your research to EECI and scale it up there for the actual use in the market. EECI is also a place to localize and modify advanced technology from abroad to fit the need of the ASEAN and Thailand market. The particular focus of EECI is in 6 target industries: modern agriculture, biorefineries, batteries and modern transports, robotics and smart electronics, aviation, aerospace, and medical devices. EECI is located in Rayong province at the heart of the EEC at a site called Wangjan Valley, which encompasses an area of roughly 5.5 square kilometers. The ecosystem of Wangjan Valley comprises of 4 zones: community zones to support the livings of the innovators, education zone which already exists to produce new knowledge and high-end research manpower, and innovation zone 1 and 2 to produce industrial research and innovations. The construction of the innovation zones have already begun early last year with ceremonies presided by Thailand Prime Ministers. The construction of EECI headquarters is expected to finish sometime in the middle of next year, and it will be ready for tenancies by year end. The following slide shows some of the research and innovation activities that industries and academies participate under the umbrellas of EECI. For modern agriculture, the activities ranging from development of UAV or drone sandbox and AI for precision agriculture, to plant factories to produce plant in a very controlled environment, to phenomic greenhouse to study the effects of environment to the plants, and to modern aquaculture to produce large-scale, high-density aquaculture in captivity areas. The logo you see there is the academies and the companies from locals from Thailand and from abroad who participate in activities in modern agriculture under the EECI umbrellas. In biorefineries, the collaborative activities ranging from research and engineering partnerships to professional management of the upcoming biorefinery pilot plants in the EECIs, to demand-led consortiums, and to demonstration of proprietary technologies in EECI. In smart electronics, we are particularly focused on Industry 4.0. The upcoming sustainable manufacturing centers in the EECIs will be a focal point to demonstrate Industry 4.0, as well as being a test-bed training centers and marketplace for advanced cyber physical component and systems. The ongoing collaboration, including the pilotings of Industry 4.0 readiness assessment tools to the industry form, to which we will deploy IIoT into factories to monitor and improve energy efficiencies. In terms of modern transport industries, the current collaborative work is focused on the development of autonomous vehicle application in Thailand, along with the developments of the regulatory guideline. In terms of human resource development, in addition to the EEC Type A and Type B models of the EEC office, we also have something we call Eeci Academy to supplement and work closely with the EEC office on that. The Eeci Academy is comprised of 4 types of human resource development activities, namely advanced skill and entrepreneurship development, industrial research personnel development, STEM education for school and vocational students, as well as smart farmers development, so that we introduce farmers to new type of technologies to use in agriculture. Last but not the least, there are several opportunities for us to partner with you. For example, in the areas of development of high values products from local bioresource of Thailand and ASEAN. We also very keen on the localization of advanced technologies for Thailand and ASEAN market. Joint research and innovations with local universities and research institutes is something we are encouraging you to do when you are expanding your manufacturing into Thailand. Also, the use of advanced research infrastructures that government have already invested in ECIs and across the countries. Also, in the joint development of talents. We are also open for any suggestion from you to make your manufacturing expansion into Thailand a win-win arrangement for you and of course for the Thai people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jengrit, for giving us a clear picture of the many human resource development platforms and partnership opportunities provided by the EEC and the EECI. We all know that innovation is key to business development and expansion, and the EECI can serve as a great platform linking research and investment across Thailand. Our final speaker today is Mr. Napong, who will give us an overview of the industrial estate zones in Thailand and incentives for investors. So Mr. Napong, what services and incentives can the Industrial Estate Authority of Thailand provide for investors? The floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Until now, I believe that all of you might have questions in mind. Thailand is interesting, but where should I start and how should I start my investment? I'll come here to answer these questions to you. First of all, I would like to explain more about, First of all, I would like to explain about what is IEAT. We are Industrial Estate Authority of Thailand. We are state enterprise under Ministry of Industry. Our major roles is to develop, manage, and regulate industrial estates and also industrial ports. Due to our major roles, we create approximately accumulate investment of 127 billion US dollar until now, and we create around 600,000 jobs. And also we have 61 industrial estates with more than 5,000 factories with us. For industrial estate across the country, the accumulation of the land available today is 11,000 acres. Out of total industrial land, around 70,000 acres across the country. Here's the big picture of our industrial estates. We have, as I mentioned before, that we have 61 industrial estates currently in 17 provinces across the country. And we have 1 industrial port in Mataput Industrial Estates. This is the number of the ports that we have, they are industrial ports in multiple industrial estates. 3 of them is public port, the one with the yellow circle, and we have 9 dedicated ports. So before I go to the detail of the land available for Chinese investor today, I'll give you a big picture of how the number of Chinese investor in our industrial estates. The status of Chinese investor in our industrial estates, until now we have around 385 related Chinese factory in industrial estates. The investment, it generates 1,600 million US dollar of investment and creates 18,000 jobs in industrial estates. For the land available for Chinese investor, I group it into 2 main groups. The first one is the land in EEC or Eastern Economic Corridor. And the second one is cluster-based and special economic zone and other industrial estates. The first one in EEC areas. EEC area, as EEC representative mentioned before, it's covered 3 provinces, Chachoengsao, Chonburi, and Rayong. In these 3 provinces, we have 33 industrial estate altogether, and 21 of 33 is promoted by EEC. IAT with our developer partners, they are Amata, WHA, Pintong, Ban Bung, Yamato Industry, Rojana, Gateway City, TFD, Asia, RIL, Lakshai Meung Yang, CPGC. These are our partners that provide industrial estate in this area. The area available for you to invest in these 3 provinces, around 8,000 acres. These 3 provinces, to give you the picture about the strategic location, these 3 provinces has distance to the airport, to Suvarnabhumi Airport, range from 40 to 150 kilometers. To deep sea port, Lam Shaman deep sea port, around 35 to 75 kilometers. And distance to Bangkok is around 60 to 170 kilometers. Depends on your location that you choose in this area. And the second major part is the area that are available on cluster-based, special economic zone, and other industrial areas. In these areas, we have 21 more of industrial estates. The available area around 3,000 acres. The highlight one is Southern Region Industrial Estate, Phichit Industrial Estate, Sakya Industrial Estate, and Songkhla Phase 1. These 4 are industrial estates that developed by Industrial Estate Authority of Thailand. And Udon Thani, this one is the first industrial estate in northeastern part of Thailand. And the one that I should mention is Botong 33 industrial estate. This one is also a lot of Chinese investors interested in this industrial estate. Let me show you the picture of industrial estate. These are some of the picture of industrial estates in Thailand. And by setting up your factory, by invest in industrial estates, you'll get 2 main benefits. One is exceptional infrastructures, such as road and lighting system, water supply, substation, electricity, security system, central wastewater management, flood protection, and drainage. These kind of infrastructures will be provided in the same standard with across industrial estates across the country. The second one that you will get, this is the benefits. In industrial estate, we have 2 main zones. The one is general industrial zone, and another one is export IAT free zone. The general industrial zone, you have right to own land, you have right to bring in foreign technician, experts, and also spouse and dependents, and rights to remit foreign currency out of the country. And IAT free zone, this one you will get the benefits of general industrial zone plus exemption of certain taxes. Our highlight is here. Not only the land that we get from us, you will get our exceptional services. This will help your setup of the investment easier and fast. We are under our Total Solution Center, or TSC, we provide 5 main services, which is focal point service. This one we providing a consultant service concerning business establishment and operation. Training service. This one's offering specialized training program on investor demands. Value-added service. This we provide continuous service to extended entities. And one-stop service, provide integrated service for industrial operators in terms of approval and permission. And the last one is one-stop service for developers. Let me summarize why you should invest with us. We are a state enterprise with full authority of support in industrial settlement and investment promotion. IAT with clear regulation and transparency procedures. Projects can be set up very quickly and easily. One-stop for all license and permission with online services. You can contact us at email investment.one@iat.mil.go.th for further information. We are looking forward to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Khun Napong, for providing us great insights into the roles of the Industrial Estate Authority of Thailand in supporting investors. Having heard from all of our speakers, we now get a clear sense of Thailand's potential to serve as a manufacturing hub for the region. From Dr. Latsmon's presentation, we see great potential from the ongoing infrastructure development, as well as government-targeted industries in the EEC. We also heard from Dr. Jengrit about the EECI as a great platform for human resource development, supporting all kinds of new technology investment. We also learned from Khun Napong about the Total Solution Center in the industrial estate that provides one-stop service for incoming investors. We hope that today's panel offers you a clear picture of Thailand's attractiveness as a manufacturing destination and serve as a starting point for your continued engagement with Thailand's Board of Investment. Again, let me emphasize the central point of today's webinar: Think Resilience, Think Thailand.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this webinar. Thank you very much indeed for your participation. Please feel free to download the presentation by scanning the QR code on your screen right now. Ladies and gentlemen, have a nice day. Please stay safe and healthy, and we hope to see you again next time. Thank you very much. Goodbye and sawadee ka.